Good evening and welcome to the April 8th school board meeting for the Natchitoches Parish School Board. I would like to encourage you to please silence your cell phones, and we will start the evening with a prayer led by Mr. Micah Nicholson. Our pledge will be led by Pastor Stephen Harris. And then after the pledge, if you'll keep standing for a moment of silence for Mrs. Corrine Dowden, who is a home economics teacher for 35 years in the Natchitoches Parish school system. Thank you.
Please stand. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if you'll keep standing for the moment of silence. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Before we have our roll call, I would like to remind our school board members to please speak directly into the microphone so everyone could hear your voice. Ms. Revels, if we could have a roll call.
Mr. Danzy.
Here.
Mr. Matuire.
Here.
Mr. Benefield.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Present.
Mrs. McGaskey. Here. Ms. Palmer. Ms. Phelps.
Here.
Ms. Harvey. Here. Mr. Fredu.
Here.
Mr. Nicholson.
Here.
And Ms. Page. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Revels. We'll start our evening with the superintendent report. Dr. Eloy.
Yes, ma'am. So just a few updates, and then we have two groups that we want to recognize. The one update, really the only update that I wanted to bring to y'all was we did do our due diligence with the survey through the Natchitoches Parish Journal on the possible NGH name change. And I've been in contact with the publisher today because today was the end of that 5-day run. And overwhelmingly, people expressed the desire to keep the name the same. So we will not be bringing that to y'all for any sort of action. But with that being said, I'd like to first bring up Miss Ramona Winder, because about 2 years ago, I don't know if she mentioned it first or if I mentioned it on a whim, but someone mentioned the idea of the foster grandparent program, and goodness, she kept with it and remembered that conversation from 2 years ago, because she is now here tonight to recognize our first foster grandparents after their first year of working with the district, and to kind of talk about what they've done this past year, and I think she's given them some, or has already given them some goodie bags. Or I'm sorry.
You're supposed to tell them.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
You didn't give me my full, when I start talking. But I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Ramona, and we're going to talk about how great these folks have been and how much they are impacting our young folks.
Yes. Well, okay. I'm so grateful to be here to recognize our foster grandmothers during this month, because April is Volunteer Awareness Month. So I felt it would be the perfect time. The last time they were here, or Mr. Eichel and Ms. Harris, the director of the Office of Community Service, the last time we joined you for the meeting, it was just to talk about our partnership and getting the program up and running. So I'm excited to share that we currently have 7 foster grandmothers in place at 2 schools, at Weaver and LP Vaughn, and we'll have an 8th one starting later this week at LP Vaughn. So we have 5 at Weaver and 8 at LP Vaughn. So that is just, it makes me very, very proud. And some of the feedback that we've received from the host teachers is that the foster grandmothers have been a blessing. They have huge hearts for kids. They are the extra hand they needed, and they also help lighten the load. And so that's certainly the purpose of the program, to help give the support in the classroom, and be that extra helping hand and the arms that a lot of our children need for hugs and just the extra attention each day. So the grandmothers are here. Yeah, I feel like a proud mom. And we also have The director of the program, Ms. Sharon Harris, is here, and Rodney Ashiel, who is, has just been such a champion and has done an excellent job of recruiting. I'm still challenging him to have a male, that we need a grandfather. So that is the challenge that I give him each time we talk. So, yeah, that's one of our goals. So I have some certificates for the grandmothers. Would you all please come up and we'll stand in front? Y'all give them a hand, please. Instead of being home and sitting in their recliners like my dad every day and watching the Family Feud and Price is Right, they're in our schools working with our children, so it's exciting. You all wanna come up, we have some presentations.
Ms. Ramona, if they don't mind, we can come up here when they're done and we'll take a photo.
Yes, okay. So, actually, you're first in line. This is Miss Barbara Hilaire. So, Miss Hilaire, she is a foster grandmother at Weaver, and she's retired from our food service in our cafeteria. She didn't want to stay home. She, how long did you stay home? A couple of months? Okay, and then she's right back with us and serving in our school at Weaver. So if you'll go up, stand with us. Next, Ms. Neal, let me switch around. I had them in alphabetical order, but this is Ms. Vioria Neal. She is just recently started as a foster grandmother at LP Vaughn, where I think you also have grandchildren there, right? Yeah, so we're so excited and happy to have you, Ms. Neal. And this is our first time meeting, but you'll get to, yes, nice to meet you. Next, we have Ms. Brenda Pack. And y'all have gotten out of order on me. But Ms. Pack, thank you so much for your service. And Ms. Pack is working as a foster grandmother at Weaver. This is Ms. Sheila Lodridge, who is also a foster grandmother at Weaver, and she has a connection to the district. You want to tell them your connection? Hers, yes, Miss Anita DuBois.
Right here.
Oh, really? Oh, good. I just knew about Miss Anita. I didn't know about you, Mr. Dancy.
Yeah.
So next we have Miss Sheila Peer. Sheila is a foster grandmother at Weaver and a published poet and author, so we're just so excited to have you, and thank you so much for your work. And Ms. Barbara Samuel, who is also a foster grandmother at Weaver, and you have grandchildren in our system too, as many of them do, so we're so grateful for you. And last but not least is Ms. Sandra Patterson, who is a foster grandmother at LP Vaughn. She has certainly risen to the challenge. And one thing I want to say about our foster grandmothers is that they have just been faithful in showing up, showing up when some of our employees don't. So Dr. Eloy gave it away, but we do have some blue bags. Once they learned about the program. Chick-fil-A made bags, as you all see. You better hold on to these because Dr. Eloy loves Chick-fil-A. That close. So we have lots for you. We have free meals, we have bath sets, aromatherapy, all kinds of things for you. Recognize the community partners and businesses who contributed to this. Ms. LaShonda Cootie, Chick-fil-A, Engaged Federal Credit Union, Raising Cane's, John Torrance State Farm, Tasty Teas Treats LLC, Walmart, Mr. Reginald McCoy, who is Valerie's brother, and then Valerie McCoy as well. So you all have lots of meals and desserts and treats. Lots of I can pick those up on the way out. There's even Southern Classic in there, so you might want to go to Southern Classic this evening.
Black chicken.
All right. So I want to give Ms. Harris and Mr. Eichel an opportunity to say a few words if you would like. But, okay. Well, we're just thankful for the partnership and you all saying yes when I reached out about this and pursuing the grant. So it's, I'm just so grateful. It's just, this assistance is priceless, and so these gifts that you have is just a small token of our appreciation. All right. Well, thank you all so much.
Ms. Winder, thank you so much for your service with this program. It's truly appreciated.
Did you go take a picture too, Miss?
You want to hop in the picture?
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you again.
Thank you again to Ms. Ramona and all our partners on that. I mean, it's something, a grandparent relationship is so special, and to have these folks adopt all our kids is just really neat stuff. Our next group, I'm sorry we don't have Raising Cane's and all that for y'all, but I do feel like y'all been getting more attention than anyone, and well-deserved attention. That is Coach Fuller and his staff and the Lady Gators, who did something historic a few weeks back. I think they've been on a tour ever since then. I've seen them on KLB and parades and all sorts of things. But they've been chasing it for a while, but they finally brought the first girls basketball state championship to Lakeview and to Campty, and we could not be prouder of them. And I think Coach Fuller just got named Coach of the Year in his classification. So we would like him to come on up, speak to us a little bit about their season, and introduce his young ladies.
How y'all doing today? Thank y'all so much for having us. It's an honor to be here. We just really appreciate everything that y'all have done. This season was full of ups and downs, but at the end of the day, God is good. So we're just grateful for everything. These young ladies put a lot of hard work into it. And like Dr. Eloy just said, we did come up short a few times, but at the end of the day, it's about keeping your eyes on the prize and having that goal and doing whatever it takes to reach it. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without my two great assistant coaches. That is like can't even explain them. They do everything to make my job easier, and I appreciate them. And this team is just, it's remarkable. It took a special group, and that's what we had, so we just grateful for everybody. We thank everybody that's been doing so much, and we just want to say thank you. But before I go, what I do want to do, because and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Eloy, but we are the first team to win a championship under your leadership.
Yes, so
correct?
you know what's funny about that? I didn't go to y'all's final because I told Mr. Fredu that I was bad luck because the past 3 I'd gone to, we had lost in the final. So I do feel like I helped y'all out in that regard.
So what I would like to do is you and our two representatives tonight is to honor y'all with the official LHSA state championship medals.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Shoot, I know we gotta do some more for y'all. I know we gotta do some more for y'all.
well, Coach, do you mind introducing all your young ladies, and then we can take a picture?
Okay, no. I was trying to start out with the freshmen. Eighth grade. That's even better. Yeah. Oh, I could say last name. I use their nickname so much.
Or-
So,
As long as they're school appropriate, we're fine with that.
all right, that's perfect. Okay, so start off with Mrs. Lewis. Get to the front. Get to the front. We have the two Vaughn twins. Tierra Hayes. We had a few that's not here. Maya Marshall and Addison Robinette. They had a softball game today, so they're not here. And then we got my five, who I'm going to miss so much. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. No, I'm calling y'all. So your last night, Miss Logan, Mrs. Davis, Miss Armstrong, Miss Johnson, and Mrs. Washington. My assistant coaches, Danielle Willis and Miss Jasmine Taylor.
All right, you're gonna have to squeeze in a little more. Maybe let's do it, yeah. A little bit, there you go, perfect. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Way to go, guys. Hey.
Thank you again, Coach Fuller, and your young ladies. As a really mediocre coach, I'm always impressed by folks who do it so well. And to run through the tournament and to do what y'all did is it's not easy. It doesn't matter how good the team is and what you got talent-wise. I mean, it takes a coach and a coaching staff. So just really proud of y'all and how y'all represent the district, and I can't say enough. Very proud of y'all. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Madam President, that concludes my update for this month.
Okay, thank you very much. The next
Madam
item-
President, before we move on, we talk a lot about sports, but we have a student in our district, Miss Gabrielle Essence, that was awarded a Young Hero Award by Louisiana Public Broadcasting here recently, and she is. If you will click on Louisiana Public Broadcasting and read about young heroes, she was raised by her mom, which Miss Sabrina, who was a Marthaville student and now graduated Niagara Central. Gabby is graduating Niagara Central in about a month. She plans to enroll in Northwestern State University. She's already working in the medical field. She's a Niagara Central High School tribal leader. She's also a pre-K teacher at St. Anthony Catholic Church. Wow. This is an amazing young lady in our community, and so I think this board has a graduating senior from Niagara Central. Can we invite her?
She's actually scheduled to come in May.
Oh, well,
Yes.
you're already there. Okay.
Let you say all that to let you know she was already.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt. So,
You should
but
have.
yes, she is remarkable, and she did receive statewide recognition, and she'll be here in May to take a photo, and we can.
That's great.
Yes, I'll brag on her at that point. Thank you, Mr. Benefield. Thank you. So, moving along with the consent agenda.
I will offer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harris.
Second.
And we have a second by Mr. Motwire. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And informational reports. Tonight, we have Mr. Ryan Shirley from the Maintenance Department. Mr. Shirley, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a pretty steady last month. We've had a lot of HVAC issues as far as freezers, coolers. I guess it's the change in weather, going from hot to cool, hot to cool. That's been most of our issues, along with trying to prepare for what's about to come about this summer. The report was pretty short and simple. I think one of the projects we finally got finished was the awning at Province Hall for the basketball court.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Other than that, it's been a pretty mild month. Any questions?
Mr. Shirley, the walk-in cooler at Lakeview, isn't it really small?
It is. It is. It's actually smaller than what other schools have. It's been big enough, but it's actually one of the ones that we've had a lot of issues with in the last 2 months, and we've put a pretty good bit of work into it. So that's one of our main ones we need to get done.
Anything at Gold on it that can be utilized?
Well, we're actually looking into that, and it just depends on the box size if it'll fit where it needs to go. Now, another option we could have if we decided to use that box is actually putting the freezers on the outside.
Okay.
So that's all being looked at, and that's one of the projects for the summer that we're looking at.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have an update on Vaughn?
Yes, ma'am. I talked to APC Play today. My stuff is being shipped. I've got 2 tons of rubber that should be here in the next week. So I have all of the extensions. They actually left some there. It's overpiled behind that big pile of stuff that we're going to clean up here in a couple of weeks. But there are some extensions over there. We didn't know they were there, but we're going to extend it. And then when my mulch comes in, we'll just take a tractor and put it in there. So hopefully in the next week I will have the mulch and we will be good to go. Now there is something I need to discuss with some folks. There is some of that equipment out there that we need to really take a look at, because I don't know if it's good enough to stay out there, and we may need to do some replacement on some of those things. Because they're,
They have replacement playgrounds.
well, they have 2, but there's a bunch of stuff out there like a jungle gym and some of the old trikes and different things that we may want to take a look at, because
Yes.
they're solid metal, and you know that stuff's got to be hot when it starts to get hot. So that's some things that we need to take a look at as a whole to see if there's equipment over there that we need to replace and remove.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shirley. Any more questions? Okay, have a
Hey,
great
thank
night.
you, guys. I'm headed to see a baseball game.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Federal Programs Monthly Report. Sarah Rashel.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Good evening.
I can't say it's been as smooth sailing as Ryan just mentioned for federal programs, because during this time, we're preparing for 25, 26, and some changes in our allocations because of the great work we're doing in Natchitoches Parish. So I wanted to share with you our recent award for 25, 26 for our school redesign, and this is particularly important because you're going to see on the next slide that it has been decreasing over the years, and once again, that's because of the amazing things that we've been doing in our district. The redesign funds are geared towards those schools with labels, and as our labels disappear, our funding starts to decrease. But we have been prepared for that, and so I've worked with the Teaching and Learning Department over the last couple of weeks, and we took what we received, and we were able to make sure that our students will have what they need to learn with, and our teachers will have what they need to teach with. So I did want to share that information with all of you. Any questions on that? Pre-K update, I didn't have the information at the time of submission, but I do have some numbers I'm excited to share with you this evening. We've been tracking over the last 3 years just our enrollment data for public pre-K during specific weeks. We're happy to say as of April 7th, we have received 163 applications. Y'all, this is huge because last year was 93 during this time.
Wow.
And of those 93, we had several that were incomplete. At this time, this year, we have 96 that are already completed. And so kudos to Melissa White and Sakina Farmer, the early childhood team that's working to get those applications approved, as well as the school principals. They have done a dynamic job, of hosting the second enrollment events. And so what our office does is we roll out the first public pre-K enrollment events during the school day to support families that can come, specifically during parent-teacher conference. And so it's just been amazing to see that this year. We've had so much interest. Are y'all interested to know those numbers by school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So right now, Marthaville has received 16 applications, so they're almost full. This is amazing to be almost a full class right now. We are very excited about these numbers. Fairview currently is at 11 that have, we've received 11 for Fairview at this time. That is correct. Provençal has received 33. Miss Melissa just picked up, I believe, 6 today, so I added them to these numbers.
Good.
Magnet is at 40, of course, and LP Vaughn is at 63
Ooh.
during this time this year, and so that's very exciting. So we're, I just can't say enough about just the progress we've made with that team and just getting the registration and the awareness to families about the importance of pre-K.
When is the deadline for them to turn in those applications that were incorrect?
We accept applications year-round. However, we only have a limited amount of seats available. So once those seats are allocated, we have established a wait list, and we select students by the date in which they completed their application fully and were approved.
Ms. Rachel?
Yes.
Do you mind if we pause and give your team a round of applause? We are so
Sure.
proud of your work. Thank you.
Oh, I will let them know. It was all them. I'm excited for them. Thank you. I will let them know.
We appreciate everything you do. And we love your excitement. We love the
I'm
fact
excited.
that
I
the
like-
department's growing.
I like looking at data trends, and so it was exciting to see we've made it, not made it, because we always want to elevate what we're doing. If y'all have some time, we're hosting the Math to Build On over at the Media Center with the support of the Rapides Foundation. So we have families over there every Tuesday night that are participating in that program. So I am going to head back over there to support.
Ms.
Thank you so
Rachel,
much.
Good evening.
can I ask just one quick question? It's dealing with ESSER funds and the recent news that just came down. I think we're good, right? Like, we had finished all the ESSER funds.
We are clear.
The Department of Ed just released something saying they're not approving any more for the districts that had not spent theirs yet. So kudos to us for making sure that was taken
we-
care of, and we made use of all that funding.
We spend every dime. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Okay, item number 7 on the agenda, Finance, Facility, Service, and Insurance. Ms. Palmer.
7A, discuss and consider approving the following resolution. Designating Natchez Parish School Board Business Director as Natchez Parish School Board Representative on Natchez Parish ITEP Board.
Okay, do we have an offer?
I offer.
Second.
Okay, we have an offer and a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
We do have, if need be, Ms. Laura Lyles, who's going to be an ex officio member, kind of guiding member of the ITEP. Am I saying that correctly, Ms. Lyles? If the board has any more specific questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay, I think we're ready to vote. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoyer?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fradu?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Okay, item number 9, Executive Report, Mr. Russ Danzy.
Since I've got a bar.
Item 9A, discuss transportation contract. Mr. Matuar.
We discussed it, last week and did a committee, and y'all wanted me to be chairman, but Mr. Benefield gonna do it, because I have a lot of stuff that's gonna go on in the next couple of months.
Okay. Okay, item 9B, discuss state third grade retention policy, Act 422 of the Louisiana Legislature. Dr.
Okay, do we have an offer?
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Okay, we have an offer and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. So y'all had asked for some more detailed information specifically about the ability for students to opt out. And so Ms. Penrod is here to go a little more in depth with y'all in regards to the Act 422 of the 23 legislature. So, Ms. Penrod?
Pardon me if I may interrupt. This isn't a voting item, correct? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. How are y'all doing this evening?
Evening.
Dr. Eloy mentioned in last week's meeting that Act 422, which was passed by our legislature in 2023, prohibits the promotion of our third grade students to fourth grade if they score well below on the end of year literacy screener. So our students take the literacy screener 3 times a year. They take it in the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of year. And as you can see on the graphic, there are 4 areas that students can score in. We've got above benchmark, at benchmark, below, and then well below. So our students that will fall under the Act 422 that would be prohibited from being promoted will be our students that would fall under the well below category. So our students, like I mentioned, they are tested 3 times a year. So communication to parents has been a top priority for us. We began at the first 9 weeks with teachers sharing the beginning of the year scores with parents, sharing the areas that students had strengths in, the areas that students needed to work on as far as growth. We also provided parents some resources that they could use at home in order to help their students. The State Department also put out a letter explaining the guidance and the good cause exemptions for parents as well. We did have parents sign that letter, and in the second 9 weeks, we went over the middle of the year scores with parents. Same process, discussed the areas of concern, areas of growth. Any parents that weren't able to attend that first conference, we did get those letters signed. We have reached out to schools and said, any new students that you've had on your campuses or any parents that were not able to come to conference, we did get them to sign those letters. We reached out to schools earlier this week and just to make sure we cross every T and dot every I that our parents are notified of that. So to me, one of our biggest areas of critical need is what we let our parents know when they take the end of the year assessment. So we have some of our third grade students, that window is from April the 1st to April the 30th. So we do have a few students who have tested in third grade already. However, LEAP testing has occurred in the last week in third grade, so the majority of those students will test after spring break. So we will notify all parents of their student scores, and then any students who fall under that well below category, we will set meetings up with those parents and discuss our next steps. So we have 2 different categories of meetings that we will call, and one of those, Dr. Eloy mentioned last week, we have students that fall under the good cause exemption, and there's several different categories for that. We met with principals a few weeks ago and SBLC coordinators to go ahead and start working on our students' documentation for that. So some of the categories that students qualify for good cause exemption is a student who has limited English proficiency that has been enrolled in our English Language Arts Assistance Program for fewer than 2 years. A student with an IEP that indicates that the screener is not appropriate for that student with a disability for the purpose of retention. A student that has an IEP or a 504 that reflects that they've been in intensive reading intervention for 2 years and they have a reading goal, those students would be exempt. A student with an IEP or 504 that was previously retained in kindergarten, first or second grade. And a student who does not have a 504 or IEP that has went through the process and they're not eligible for that. If they've been retained and they've received that intensive intervention for 2 years, and it's been documented through a reading plan, they will also qualify for good cause exemption. A student that's been diagnosed with dyslexia, that's documented on their IEP or 504, that has accompanying supporting documents or medical diagnosis. A student who demonstrates an acceptable level of proficiency on the BESI-approved alternative assessment. And then any student who scores mastery on the LEAP test, which we won't have those results till July, they would also qualify for good cause exemption. So we will meet with those parents for those students that score well below to let them know that their student does not have to attend summer school. Then we will also meet with the parents of the students who scored well below that do not qualify for good cause exemption and talk them through what that will look like in the next few weeks.
Ms. Penrod, if I'm hearing you correctly, and I know this is something the board is very concerned about, as is staff. Between all the different points of contact, there should be at least 4 different letters that probably went home to folks. Plus, we went through the journal, so there. I'm hearing at least 5 points of contact where parents should have been informed of this Act 420.
So we discussed it at conference, and then we sent the letter home one time, and once it was signed by the parent, we didn't keep sending it home. But we do have parents that cannot come to every conference, and we did want to get that information out to them. So we have the first 2 conferences, we have the letter, we have the information that you discussed last week as far as Facebook. It's on our NPSB page. NPJ had an article about it, as well as we pushed out the guidance from the state through text and email with JCampus. So we will meet with all those parents of students who do score well below, and we will discuss our next options. Intervention is really critical. Our students who have scored well below, we've been doing intervention during one time for 45 minutes all year. Weaver also has a literacy interventionist at their school, so those students have been getting extra intervention. So during the time from the first assessment, so students have 3 opportunities to take this test. They have the opportunity that all students take at the end of year. So if they don't pass at that point, we will do 15 hours of intervention with them. And then the really great thing about the program that we assess students on, it disaggregates the data and it tells us exactly what students need. It gives us activities to work with them on. Our teachers are science or reading trained. So we will work with those students for 15 additional hours between the first EOY assessment and then that first retest opportunity. Once students take that retest on May 16th, we will contact parents to let them know how their students scored. If they pass, they're good. They won't go to summer school, but if we do have students that are still in the well below category, we will have summer school for those students, and they will spend 3 hours. Let's see the dates for summer school are June the 2nd through June the 18th. We will do 3 hours a day of intense interventions, working towards bringing those students up with their deficits, and then they will test again on June 18th. And those students that pass would be promoted to 4th grade. Those students that score well below, we will contact parents again, let them know. And one thing that the state has allocated is if we have students that don't pass this test 3 times and they don't qualify for good cause exemption, the state has required us to do a dyslexic screener with those students. And that is something that we're waiting for guidance on what that's going to look like. If students are showing characteristics of dyslexia, they will be immediately, during the summer, referred to SBLC. And once the SBLC team meets and determines that we need to move forward, they will have a comprehensive assessment to determine if, they're diagnosed with dyslexia. If they are diagnosed with that, they will be promoted to 4th grade. We will have some students that won't qualify for that, but we will follow those students next year whether they're retained in 3rd grade or whether they go to 4th grade and they're diagnosed with dyslexia. We will follow those students through SBLC and we'll continue the intervention process.
So as y'all can tell by the in-depth nature of this, it's more than simply just you fail a test, you don't get passed on. There's a lot of work and intervention and flow charts, as it were, that help to make this as student-friendly as possible while still being a retention policy.
Right. So our students are progress monitored every 10 days since the beginning of school, in addition to those 3 times a year in the areas that they need. And the great thing about our program is every student has their own goal. The end of year goal may be 100, but this student may be at 20 and their goal may be 40. So it's something that's attainable that we keep working with students. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Penrod.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Item 9C, discuss 25-26 Natchez Parish School Board summer school plans.
So we went over that in depth last week. Is there any questions following up on that?
Item,
What location?
Mr. Wassman, can you pull up? Oh, I'm sorry. That document's via email. It's going to be at Natchez Central, Lakeview, MPTCC, and LP Vaughn.
Because of the moves.
Yes, correct. Those are schools not affected by the move, so we're consolidating summer school a little bit.
Thank you.
item 9D, discuss and consider executing a waiver of reversionary interest with BSC in regards to the MLK Head Start building.
Okay. Do we have an offer?
I'll offer.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have an offer and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. So this was sent to us by the executive director of Bessie. If y'all remember, about 6 months ago, myself and the mayor reached out to Bessie because they are the owners of this property, and there's a lot of bureaucratic red tape in order to make this property accessible to a potential buyer. Currently, as it stands, the city has no responsibility for it except when they notified Bessie of their responsibility for it. We also have no responsibility for it, but what's still intact and what we have to sign, or we're being asked to sign, is a reversionary waiver that'll be signed by both Bessie and ourselves. When this was originally put into place in the mid-50s, it was a donation of the land in order for them to build this state school that was a trade school for African-American students at the time. Now that, that's been 70 some odd years ago, and Bessie has no real interest in it, and if they were to revert it back to us, they'd have to do some work in terms of removing the buildings to revert it back to us. The idea now is for them to waive their rights to it, us to waive our reversionary rights to it, and then give it basically kind of a clear title, for lack of another way of putting it. So then it can go to DOA, and DOA can claim it as surplus state property, and they can actually put it out for sale. And then someone can purchase it and do what they need to do. I know of several local folks who are interested in purchasing it because they've CC'd me on emails to Bessie, and they want to purchase it and take the blight away and fix it. But this is the first step that has to occur.
Okay. Are there any questions for Dr. Eloy?
So what is required before it can be made available for sale? What?
So they'll have to do this first, which basically gives it that kind of clean ownership piece, and then they'll have to do a not an assessment. Appraisal. I keep messing with that word. But they have to do an appraisal to see what the fair market value is. And then after that, I believe we're going to have another Zoom call. I believe that's the big hurdles. And then when it transfers to DOE, it has to be declared surplus property, and then it can go through that process of actually, putting it on the market.
So an abatement doesn't have to be, I remember.
So that actually can go to the appraisal. If you have property on the piece of land that needs to be abated, that can be taken into consideration in the sale to diminish the value of it. Because anyone who purchases the property would either be purchasing a piece of property that has asbestos in the building, or would be purchasing it and there'd be a cost to abate it and demolish it.
And who is responsible for the abatement?
Based on the last conversation we had with a lot of Bessie attorneys and state attorneys and an expert in state property. It very much felt, but I'd like to update you after this next Zoom call when that occurs. It very much felt like the state, in their selling of it, the responsibility would then go to the buyer. I can tell you this, we have no liability there because we have no ownership to it. And this, we already didn't have ownership, but this completely severs any connection the school board has with the property in any facet.
Okay, we have an offer and a second on the motion. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Metoyer?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fradu?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
That concludes my report.
Okay, board members, if there is no other business to come before the board,
We'll join.
okay.
You guys, wait.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Harvey?
This is Autism Awareness Month, and Voices for Autism will be having our annual Autism Awareness Walk on Saturday at the City Park in the big parking lot. Our walk will start at 10 a.m.
I'm sorry, you said this Saturday?
22nd, the 19th, yes, at 10 a.m.
And you expect to see us all there?
That's
That'll
next
be
Saturday.
next.
Next Saturday, the 19th at 10 o'clock.
Thank you,
I
Ms.
hope
Harvey.
everybody show up ready to walk.
Okay,
I think I can do that.
so we have a,
I move we'll join.
all right, do we have a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.